Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the past comes alive through the power of storytelling and the pursuit of knowledge. Today, we embark on a fascinating and complex journey through one of the most pivotal and tumultuous periods in human history, the Spanish Inquisition. This era of profound upheaval, marked by both fervent religious zeal and ruthless political machinations, will transport us to the Iberian Peninsula of the 15th century, a time when the very fabric of society was being reshaped by the forces of faith, power, and cultural identity. As we delve into this captivating narrative, let us begin with the rich tapestry that was medieval Spain. The year is 711, and the Umayyad Caliphate, a Muslim empire originating from Damascus, has just conquered the Visigothic kingdom, introducing Islam to the peninsula. This invasion sets in motion a series of events that will shape the destiny of Spain for centuries to come. The Muslims bring with them not only their faith but also sophisticated agricultural practices, architectural innovations, and a deep appreciation for learning and science, which they establish in centers like Cordoba. Over the next few centuries, Christian kingdoms in the north of Spain began a gradual process of reconquista, or reconquest, aiming to reclaim territories lost to Muslim rule. This period is marked by intermittent warfare, alliances, and cultural exchanges between Muslims, Christians, and Jews, creating a unique multicultural society that is both vibrant and volatile. Cities like Toledo become emblematic of this coexistence, with scholars from all three faiths translating ancient texts and contributing to a flowering of knowledge and culture. As the 14th century unfolds, however, the political landscape of Spain undergoes significant changes. The Christian kingdoms, particularly Castile and Aragon, consolidate their power, leading to the eventual unification of much of Spain under Catholic monarchs. This process culminates in 1469 with the marriage of Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, a union that not only unites the two most powerful kingdoms but also sets the stage for a period of religious uniformity and intolerance. The Catholic monarchs, as they come to be known, are determined to complete the Reconquista and establish a purely Christian state. Their ambitions are not merely political. They are also deeply religious, driven by a desire to purify their domains of non-Christian influences. The final act of the Reconquista is played out in 1492 with the conquest of Granada, the last Muslim stronghold on the Iberian Peninsula. This victory marks the end of Islamic rule in Spain and the beginning of a new era characterized by an intense focus on religious orthodoxy. In the same year as the fall of Granada, an event of profound significance occurs: the expulsion of the Jews from Spain. The Alhambra decree, issued by Ferdinand and Isabella, orders all Jews who refuse to convert to Christianity to leave the country, resulting in the displacement of thousands of people and a significant loss of cultural and economic talent. This act sets a precedent for future religious persecutions and is a crucial step towards the establishment of the Spanish Inquisition. Established in 1478 by Pope Sixtus IV at the behest of Ferdinand and Isabella, the Inquisition's primary objective was to root out conversos, Jews who had converted to Christianity but were suspected of practicing their original faith in secret. This mission would soon expand to include Muslims, alumbrados, mystics, and anyone deemed a threat to Catholic orthodoxy. The first auto da fe, a public ceremony where heretics were punished or executed, took place in Seville in 1481, marking the beginning of a long and dark period in Spanish history. The Inquisition's reach was extensive, with tribunals established in major cities across Spain, from Barcelona to Toledo. Its methods were notorious. Torture, often using devices like the strapado or the rack, was employed to extract confessions, while informants and spies were used to identify suspected heretics. One of the most significant figures of the Spanish Inquisition was Tomás de Torquemada, a Dominican friar who served as the Inquisition's first Grand Inquisitor from 1483 until his death in 1498. Torquemada was instrumental in shaping the Inquisition's policies and procedures, including the use of torture and the establishment of a network of informants. Under his guidance, the Inquisition became a powerful and feared institution, with the ability to investigate and punish anyone suspected of heresy. As the years passed, the Spanish Inquisition's reach expanded beyond conversos and Muslims to include other perceived threats to Catholic orthodoxy. The Alumbrados, a group of mystics who emphasized personal spiritual experience over traditional church doctrine, were targeted in the early 16th century, with many of their leaders being arrested and punished. Similarly, the Inquisition turned its attention to intellectuals and scholars who were deemed too sympathetic to humanist or Protestant ideas. The Inquisition's impact on Spanish society was profound. Many conversos and moriscos, Muslims who had converted to Christianity, lived in constant fear of being denounced and brought before the Inquisition. The resulting climate of suspicion and mistrust led to a stifling of intellectual and artistic innovation, as anyone who dared to challenge traditional Catholic doctrine risked being accused of heresy. In 1521, the Inquisition's attention turned to the city of Navidad, where a group of Alumbrados had been discovered. The resulting auto de fe was one of the largest and most spectacular in Spanish history, with over 100 individuals being punished or executed. As one observer noted, the streets ran with blood as the Inquisition's agents carried out their brutal work. As the 16th century progressed, the Spanish Inquisition's power and influence began to wane, although its legacy continued to shape Spanish society. One of the key events that marked the beginning of the end of the Inquisition was the death of Philip II in 1598, who had been a strong supporter of the institution. His successor, Philip III, was less enthusiastic about the Inquisition's methods, and the number of auto de fes and executions began to decline. However, it wasn't until the 18th century that the Spanish Inquisition began to be dismantled in earnest. In 1782, King Charles III issued a decree that restricted the Inquisition's power to investigate and punish heretics, and in 1808, during the Napoleonic Wars, the Inquisition was briefly abolished. Although it was re-established after the war, its influence had been greatly diminished. The final blow came in 1834, when Queen Isabella II issued a decree that formally abolished the Spanish Inquisition. The institution's archives and records were seized, and many of its buildings were converted into museums, schools, and other public institutions. Today, the Spanish Inquisition is remembered as one of the darkest periods in Spanish history, a time of intense repression, violence, and intolerance. As the Spanish historian Juan Antonio Lorente once said, "The Inquisition was a cancer that consumed the very soul of Spain, leaving behind a legacy of mistrust, fear, and division." Despite its brutal methods and devastating impact on Spanish society, the Spanish Inquisition also played a significant role in shaping the country's culture and identity. Many of the intellectual and artistic movements that emerged in response to the Inquisition's repression, such as the Enlightenment and Romanticism, helped to lay the foundations for modern Spanish thought and creativity. The legacy of the Spanish Inquisition can also be seen in the many museums, memorials, and historical sites that commemorate its victims and survivors. The Museum of the Inquisition in Madrid, for example, houses a vast collection of artifacts and documents related to the Inquisition, including torture devices, manuscripts, and personal testimonies. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.